y'all doing today, my cutie patooties, on this Friday? Yes, we're almost to the weekend. Now, today's video, I decided to do my favorite all-time movie, and I know it's yours too, The Princess Bride. As you wish. Hubbardee. Anybody want a peanut? So we're going to do 15 behind-the-scenes stories about Andre the Giant, Rosamov, and The Princess Bride. So, we all know the story. Buttercup, Wesley, Fezzik, Indigo Montoya. You could, my father. Prepare to die. Yes. So, The Princess Bride is a beloved all-time movie. You love it. I love it. And it's remembered for fencing, fighting, revenge, true love, miracles, and, of course, Andre the Giant. The cast and crew have plenty of stories about Andre Rosamov and his time working on the set of The Princess Bride. And they've shared many of the stories since the film's 1987 release and Rosamov's passing in 1993. Their tales prove that the audience wasn't the only group enthralled by the gentle giant. Over the years, numerous stories have cropped up about the making of The Princess Bride, but despite the film's numerous memorable characters, much of the fascination falls squarely upon the shoulders of Rosamov. These are some of the best behind-the-scenes stories about Andre the Giant from the making of The Princess Bride. One of the benefits of hiring a wrestler to play Fezzik was his baked-in acting ability. Thanks to his professional wrestling background, Rosamov knew how to move without much, if any, guidance from director Rob Reiner. While he did have some difficulty pronouncing his lines, he required very little physical direction. According to Reiner, he had never acted before. He was a natural actor from the beginning. You know, in the wrestling ring. They were always pure. He never made false moves. Never. He would do things that were totally natural. I mean, you never had to tell him, physical stuff. He always did the right thing. Now, during filming, Andre Rosamov often felt overheated, whereas Robin Wright, who played Buttercup, shivered from the cold. To combat this problem, the two worked out a plan, which Wesley's actor, Cary Elwes, described in his book, As You Wish, Inconceivable Tales from the Making of The Princess Bride. Rosamov, sweetheart of a man that he was, devised a technique to keep Wright warm. He would use one of his hands, so huge, as a hat on top of Robin's head. She said it was like having a giant hot water bottle up there, and it certainly did the trick. And he didn't even mess up her hair. Now, Rosamov was born and raised in Grenoble, France, and spoke French as his primary language. Well, he learned some English early in his wrestling career. He wasn't entirely comfortable speaking it. To overcome this hurdle, director Rob Reiner recorded all of Fezzik's dialogue onto cassette tapes. Rosenhoff could then memorize the script by hearing, not reading, which aided his pronunciation. Reiner described his first meeting with Rosenhoff at a Paris bar. I brought him up to the hotel room to audition. He read this 3-page scene, and I couldn't understand one word he said. I go, oh my God, what am I going to do? He's physically perfect for the part, but I can't understand him. So I recorded his entire part on tape, exactly how I wanted him to do it. And he studied the tape. He got pretty good. Rosenhoff was constantly in pain due to back problems resulting from his physical size. According to Carrie Yules, he drank to dull his pain. Since no pharmaceutical pain relief could effectively combat his mass, he underwent back surgery in 1986, which made walking for an extended period particularly difficult. The resulting pain prevented him from performing any of his stunts unassisted. In the fight scene between Fezzik and the Man in Black, Rosenhoff couldn't manage the strain on his back. This was remedied by clever camera tricks and hidden ramps for each actor to stand upon, creating the illusion that Yules was on Rosenhoff's back, when in reality they were merely walking behind one another. In another scene, Fezzik catches Buttercup after she jumps down to him from a window. This stunt was equally difficult for Rosenhoff, so Wright was lowered by a wiring and safely dropped into Rosenhoff's arms. Love, love, love. Don't you just love this? I do. Now, Rosenhoff didn't earn his giant monk year simply because of his height. All of his body proportions were massive compared to those around him. When Christopher Guest, who played the six-fingered Count Tyrone Rogan, met Rosenhoff, he shook his hand to see his own disappear into the wrestler's massive fist. They repeated this practice each time they met, as Guest couldn't get enough of seeing such a massive hand holding his own. He said, I don't know if you know this about Rosenhoff, but he was very large. I couldn't wait every morning to shake his hand because that feeling was like a guy with 5 catcher's mitts. Your hand would just disappear into his. Now, when Chris Sarandon, who played the infamous Prince Humperdinck, told his children he was working with a giant, they peppered their father with questions about Rosenhoff's size. When they finally met him, however, their reaction was less than enthusiastic. Rather than walking up to greet the actor, they ran, screaming for the hills. Rosenhoff's childhood was difficult due to his unusual size. He grew accustomed to stairs throughout his life, and he managed to make a career of his size. He didn't appreciate gawkers. Can't say I blame him. He once told Billy Crystal, who played Miracle Max, about his farm in North Carolina, saying he loved walking with the animals because they didn't look twice at him. Now, when filming wrapped on The Princess Bride, Carrie Yules and Rosamond spent a night out on the town in Manhattan. While sharing a drink at P.J. Clark's on 3rd Avenue, Yules noticed a man watching them from a nearby table. He didn't appear to be a typical fan, but instead seemed to be stalking them. The actors left the bar for a different watering hole, but Yules again noticed the same man following them. Yules asked his companion if he noticed the man tailing them, to which Rosamond responded that he was an undercover police officer. The wrestler explained that he was bar hopping on a previous evening and had fallen over while waiting for a car. He accidentally injured a person walking by, and ever since, the NYPD have been tailing him. According to Rosamond, they said it was for my own safety. Oh, I was so crying on that, guys. Oh. When Arthur William Goldman wrote the original Princess Bride book, he had Andre the Giant in mind for Fezzik. The character had to be large and imposing, but also capable of displaying a soft side, which perfectly described the French wrestler. Rosamond initially refused to even read for the part. However, he felt he wouldn't be good enough. While other tall famous figures like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Lou Ferrigno were considered, Andre ultimately got the part. Now, Mandy Patinkin, I think is how you say her name, the actor who played Indigo Montoya, "You killed my father, prepared to die," recalled his favorite moment with Rosamond. The actors were on a boat. Yeah, this is very freezing too. With the script supervisor, who asked Rosamond if he enjoyed working on the film. The wrestler replied that he was very happy on the set because nobody stared at him. Instead, he was just another cast member. Oh, poor guy. Andre the Giant stood at 7 feet, 4 inches tall, and when Carrie Yules first met him, Rosamond had to stoop down just to fit through the door. Yules said, "I remember the first day he walked in. He had to bend down to step through the door. When he stood up to his full height, I remember thinking, that's absolutely phenomenal. I have never seen anything like it in my life." After each night of filming The Princess Bride, the cast ate together, usually in Rob Reiner's room. Most would bring along their respective partners, but Rosamond would bring a case of bourbon just to get tipsy. The cast eventually became very close, and on each ride to and from the set, they played word games to keep themselves entertained. The surviving stars often speak fondly of Rosamond in interviews. Yules recalled that in one meeting, Rosamond said, we big people don't live long, he continued. He had that thing you come across with people who are terminally ill, where they have a secret most of us don't get. They understand that life is precious and you have to cherish every moment. He really imparted that to me. He was so filled with life and fun, and he was so sweet, such a truly gentle soul, which he was. I mean, for a guy who could crush you like swatting a mosquito, he was so incredibly gentle. I made him tell me his whole life story. He grew up in a little village in France. He couldn't fit into the school bus, even when he was 12. And the only person in the village who had a convertible who could drive him to school was Samuel Beckett, which I think is another movie, Waiting for Andre. Yeah, I think that's, yeah, Waiting for Andre. Andre. Now, this is my favorite one, too. Carrie Yules shared a story about Rosamond with ABC News, explaining that during one scene, and I think I put this in another video that I did of The Princess Bride, he let out a 16-second fart and brought production to a standstill. It could be heard 3 counties away. Nobody said anything except Ron Reiner, who said, "Are you okay, Andre?" And Andre replied, "I am now, boss." He was comfortable enough to do that. Yules further elaborated upon the incident in his book. "I suppose you wouldn't expect a man of Andre's proportions to pass gas quietly or unobtrusively, but this particular one was truly epic. A veritable symphony of gastric distress that roared for more than several seconds and shook the very foundation of the wood and plaster set we were on, now grabbing onto." Love it, love it, love it. Be right back, guys. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. Now, Rosamond was a well-known drinker, and though he could hold his alcohol, well, his size presented some problems when he did become inebriated. One evening, after the day's filming wrapped, he passed out in the hotel bar. Rosamond weighed approximately 520 pounds, meaning no one around could move him. The hotel housekeepers had no choice but to leave him where he was. They placed a velvet rope around him for privacy, and he woke up the next morning. While filming The Princess Bride, Rosamond stayed at the Hyatt in London. When the production wrapped, his bar bill totaled $40,000. That's right, $40,000. Carrie Yules wrote about the wrestler's pennant for drinking in his book, saying, sorry guys, saying, according to some estimates, his average daily consumption of alcohol was a case of beer, 3 bottles of wine, and a couple bottles of brandy. Yules further indicated Rosamond's favorite drink was called the American, a concoction that consisted of 40 ounces of various liquors poured into a pitcher. Rosamond drank straight from a beer pitcher. That way, the way a small person would sip from a beer mug. Well, my friends, my cuties, that is the tale of The Princess Bride and Andre the Giant. I hope y'all enjoyed this video as much as I did making it. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like button. And make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when my videos go up. Love you guys. Smooches and hugs. Bye. As you wish.